right, Eagles Nation. It was a busy weekend for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I apologize for the delay in getting the video out for you guys. Pulling back the curtain, was dealing with a little bit of a yellow jacket nest in my downstairs bathroom ceiling. Had to deal with that, so I apologize for the delay. You don't care about that, but I feel like it's a valid excuse. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles had a preseason game this weekend as well. They made a pretty decent trade. We'll start with the trade talk. John Metchie from the Houston Texans, a receiver who was well touted out of college, has experience with both the Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts out of Alabama. Never really found his footing on the Houston Texans. Had a couple of stretches over the past couple of years where for games he was their wide receiver 2 or 3, due to injuries that they had, but never really found himself with a major role. A former second-round pick from the Texans. This is actually, I believe, the 7th trade that the Eagles and Texans have made in like the past couple years. So Nick Caserio and Howie Roseman getting along. Obviously, we send to them Harrison Bryant in their own 5th-round pick for John Metchie and our own 5th-round pick back. So a little bit of a 5th-round swap to get John Metchie on the squad. What does this mean to me? Is AJ Brown's hamstring injury a little bit more concerning than the team is letting on? When you think back to last year, the Philadelphia Eagles dealt with an injury to AJ Brown and the offense kind of really sputtered outside of Devonta Smith. You had Jahan Dotson, who was just on the team, and then Paris Campbell. So in terms of wide receiver depth, getting John Metchie to be a 4, maybe 3, maybe he competes with Dotson for the job. And you have guys like Darius Cooper, Johnny Wilson, and Nia Smith. I just think it was in adding some depth to the wide receiver position. It does kind of say to me that maybe one of Darius Cooper or Nia Smith will be cut from the team just because traditionally the Eagles don't keep 7 wide receivers on the roster. They like to have more depth at offensive and defensive line. So we'll see where that goes. But I think Metchie's worth taking a shot on. The Texans wanted to move him after drafting some rookie wide receivers, and overall, I think it's a good trade, man. I think anytime you could bring in a guy who is already established in the offensive locker room in terms of having a good connection with another wide receiver and a quarterback, and a guy with some untapped potential, it's worth taking the shot on. And, maybe how he's done, maybe he's not, who knows. Preseason week 2. Versus the Cleveland Browns, none of the offensive starters out there yet again. None of the main staples of the defense starters out there in terms of Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Carter, etc. Nolan Smith not playing, as well Jalix Hunt and Moro Ojomo again not playing. So I think that speaks to some of the confidence that maybe Fangio and this Eagles defensive staff have in those guys being big-time players. We saw some more Jahad Campbell. He looked real comfortable. He looked like one of the best players on our defense. Like, he looked like a starter playing against backups, and that's kind of what you'd hope it would be. The cornerback 2 matchup, again, kind of interesting. Adoree Jackson has been out playing Kelee Ringo, I would say. The only thing with Adoree, and I'm not even sure if this is an Adoree Jackson thing or if this is Vic Fangio, just because we did see this as well kind of at the beginning of last year, but it feels like Adoree Jackson's giving like 10 yards of cushion every single route, and that's why he easily gets killed on these comeback routes. We saw that a lot in the first month of the season for the Eagles defense last year, so maybe that's just kind of their stationary vanilla looks, and in practice, Adoree's actually playing better. Kelee Ringo today actually was passed by Mac McWilliams, it looked like, on the depth chart. And I still think Jacorian Bennett is our best option at CB2, although the closer that the season comes to approaching, and from what I'm seeing from these guys, I still kind of wish we would go sign Asante Samuel Jr. or make a trade for a corner. It's just, there's not a lot of teams selling at this point in time. Like, can we actually go get a Denzel Ward from the Cleveland Browns? I don't know. But yeah, Jacorian Bennett, to me, in the preseason game, looked like the best corner, but I do think if we played Dallas this week, it would be Adoree Jackson out there for whatever that's worth. The big highlight of the preseason game to me was the play of Andrew Mukuba. I've made it clear on this channel that Sidney Brown at starting safety isn't what I want for this team. I'm a much bigger believer in Mukuba, younger, kind of CJ Gardner-Johnson-esque, where he could play nickel and safety. I just think it's a seamless fit there. And the guy showed in the preseason he's a ball magnet. Listen, did the wide receiver mess up the route, or should Dylan Gabriel have led the receiver better? I don't know. But Mukuba, a 75-yard pick 6 in his first action in the preseason. That's a playmaker right there. The fumble recovery, he had a 95 overall grade per PFF, the highest graded Eagle on the defense. So again, you don't want to just focus too much on highlights, but watching Makuba play, it looked like a starter out there against backups. And like I just said for Jahad Campbell, that's really what you want to see at this point in time. So the defense coming together piece by piece. On the offensive side of the ball, Anais Smith, I thought, outplayed Darius Cooper in this particular game. AJ Dillon kind of looked like more of a pass catching back. We didn't see any Tanner McKee, so he's pretty locked into the backup role. I think they're only going to keep 3 QBs. DTR could be cut. I think Kyle McCord outplayed him for the quarterback 3 spot. It just wasn't a lot to learn from this game. Again, I think in man coverage, I liked Jacorian Bennett better than Adoree Jackson, but from what I've been hearing at a training camp, it feels like it's Adoree's job at this point in time, and maybe Bennett catches up in the next couple of weeks. Maybe he doesn't. To me, that's the best option from what I've seen, but we'll see, man. Makuba over Sidney Brown, Jahad Campbell getting real minutes, and now John Metchie, a part of the Philadelphia Eagles. Could we be in the mix for Trey Hendrickson? Maybe I'll make a video on that tomorrow, but be sure to let me know your thoughts on the John Metchie trade in the preseason week 2 in the comment section down below. I greatly appreciate your guys' support, and if you love the Philadelphia Eagles and you have yet to hit that subscribe button, I would ask that you please consider doing so, and I will catch you next time. Peace.